Okay, so could you introduce yourself, your name, who you work for and what you do?
Yeah, I'm Rod Green. I'm a public health engineer and I work for the Environmental Protection Group.
And could you explain what the Environmental Protection Group does?
We are a small design consultancy. A lot of my work is involved in drainage designs, blue roofs and water recovery and conservation. But obviously as part of public health design, we also do the concept work for sprinkler systems.
And why do you organise CPDs? What do you think is the benefit to organising them?
Basically because there was nobody doing it in the Midlands. We were having to either travel to London or up to Manchester. So it was a lot easier to try and organise something that was more local. And this is our fourth one with that. And they've all been pretty well attended, so it seems to be working around here.
Have you had some good feedback?
Yeah, and our numbers have been pretty good. But I think tonight there's about 18 people, and we've had like 24, 28 people, so it's making it worthwhile. And there's not many PH engineers either in the Midlands, so it's a good way of us all getting together. We all know one another, so it's a good way of just catching up as well.
Brilliant. And you mentioned before that you're doing kind of a theme of high-rise and residential buildings. Could you explain where that came from and why you decided to focus on it?
Because obviously there's more high-rise taller buildings now starting to be built, particularly in London, but we get involved from the Midlands designing them. And in a past life I actually lived and worked out in the Middle East for a while, so all my work was high-rise buildings. So I chose that as a topic so we could try and let some of the guys in, particularly the graduates, understand the differences between designing high-rise and designing normal sorts of up to 10, 15 story buildings.
Do you also think it's important to know all the recent updates and the regulations post-Grenfell?
Absolutely. And even before Grenfell we were trying to make sure one of the whole ideas of doing this was to try and make people aware of updates, because there are a lot coming through all the time, but we never seem to really get to know about them straight away. But through SoPHE they're sent through quite quickly, so it's making sure it's all passed through as well.
And how did you find the project via CPD?
Really enjoyed it. I spoke with Andrew before, so it covered everything I needed to cover. And in fact, I was having a chat with him because Camden Council have asked if they can have the same presentation, so I'm going to pass. I've got the contact down at Camden Council and they want your details as well, because nobody's done it specifically for residential apparently. So it was great that we could do it aimed just at the residential market.
And obviously you work for an environmental protection company. So this is a bit of a stupid question really, but how important is sustainability for you and your organisation?
Massive. And next year, the theme for next year for us is livable cities and resilience. So the evenings I'm arranging next year, about 8 of them, are all going to be based around themes to do with the same resilience and livable cities. So all about well-being and sustainability.
Amazing, really interesting. And I don't know if you noticed, but our products, they are sustainable. So for example, we have recent water savings. Is that something that you think would be of high interest to services?
I think it should be to everybody. Everybody thinks we've got tons of water, loads and loads of water in this country, but actually we haven't. And we import about 60% of our water through virtual water. So I think it's really important that people really start to think more about it, and getting on my high horse now a little bit, but everybody thinks about sustainability and climate change and carbon, but actually without water we got nothing. So to me water is the central issue, not carbon, and if water is actually managed properly and done more sustainable, then that actually reduces the carbon impact across globally. So yeah, sorry.
No,
it's just about really passionate about it. Do a lot on.
No, that was fine. So final question, how important is continuous improvement for you?
I think it's really important. Just if nothing else, that people understand that there's different ways of doing things and that there are different standards that you can go to. Because everybody just sort of concentrates on 3 or 4 standards, but actually there's a lot more feeding into it. Especially, and I think new standards are more important now because a lot of the other standards are 2000 and older. So they're all out of date, and nobody's actually doing anything to update them. Whereas the newer standards coming through sorts of lock into them, so you can look at different avenues to try and move up.
Thank you very much. That was really good.
Thank you.